So hi guys, welcome to Crazy Burger. Today we're going to look at all the things that are wrong or right with the Evercade. So the pros and cons basically. I've had the machine about 2-3 weeks now, and I've had more chance to play it, look at it, and definitely a few things really good with it, a few things not so good. So let's have a look at it in more detail. So guys, first things first, we're going to look at some of the things that are not so good with the Evercade. Just let's say I love the Evercade, so before we start getting into all the negatives, I do actually like it, but it's definitely worth noting that there's a few things not right with it. So first thing is probably the tight fitting cartridges. As you can see, this is quite tight fitting, and obviously through time it does get easier, but getting them out, you feel as if you're trying to break the console and it's not so easy, so it is a bit of a pain. Does get easier, but yeah, it's not a good thing. So guys, one of the next things that we should probably look at is obviously the screen angles. Looking at this is probably one of the worst examples that I could find. Playing basketball on the Atari Collection 2. When you look at it straight on, it looks fine, but when you sort of tilt the screen too far, or like usually if you actually look at it straight on, it's not good. You need to look at it at a certain angle. Some games are worse than others, but yeah, you can see as soon as you sort of go up too high it's not so good, but then you sort of tilt it at a slight angle, it looks perfect. So it's not ideal, which is a shame, because you see the graphics are quite nice on this, but sometimes it's just not perfect. Looking at it straight on just doesn't work in some odd cases. It's not the same with every game, but yeah, not ideal. So something else worth noting is maybe the repetitive games that are on some of the packs. Well, for instance, this is the Atari 7800 version of Centipede, and also if you look at the Collection 1, Atari Collection 1, it actually includes the 2600 version of Centipede, which I actually prefer, funny enough, but what I'm kind of wondering is, why would you have both versions? I don't really understand why you would do that. It seems a bit of a waste. You could actually put another game in its place. Even though it's supposed to be the better version, I actually think I prefer the original on the 2600, which is really odd. Even though it's good fun to play, but I don't get it. So just looking at it, even though there's a lot of games available at launch, there are a few that I really think shouldn't be there. Like the Interplay collection for me is probably one of the poorest collections there. And I do wonder, the inclusion of some of the games, like this, for example, Clay Fighter really isn't a particularly great game. It was never great in the day, so I don't really see why you would want to include that now as well. So this is Clay Fighter, and for me this isn't a particularly great game. I mean, it's okay maybe for 5 seconds, but it's hard, it's unresponsive, there's not a lot of variety in some of the moves. So it's not a great fighter, it's really not a good example of the genre at all, but it's alright. Geez, there's better things we can done here, but it's not a game, I really don't think it's a game you're going to come back to and play time and time again, that's for sure. So something else we should probably mention is the button mapping. On some games the button mapping is just weird, to say the least. Weird. On, for example, the Atari 7800 versions on the collection, one of the buttons actually resets. So if I press X, it resets the game completely back. Now if you're in the middle of playing a game, it can be frustrating to say the least if you accidentally press the X button and it resets the game all the way back to here. Now that's just a really bad example, but some of the button mapping is strange, which I don't understand. Now there is a firmware update which I've completed in another video, but I'm not convinced, to be honest, that it actually fixed the issues. It may change some of the button layout a little bit in certain games, but yeah, a small oversight which can be really annoying, for sure. It's not a major problem, but it can be a pain for sure. So guys, something else possibly worth noting is the game save states. It's really good that they're there, but you go into the menu, you can load, save, and you've got, I think you've got, well, there's plenty of save slots for sure, but you don't know what any of these are. I mean, you could be choosing anything, you need to maybe remember what you saved. But there's no indication to what they are. I mean, it'd be good to actually know and see a visualisation of what's there. So really I'm loading in a save which I can't really remember. I have no idea. I guess it's the start of the level or start of level 2, I can't really remember. But yeah, a little bit of visualisation to what you're actually playing here and loading would be great, or saving. So yeah, a little bit of an oversight there. Hopefully that can be fixed going forward in a firmware update. I think in the next firmware update, hopefully you'll be able to actually button map doing it yourself manually, which may help, which would be really good. It'll take a lot of frustrations away in some games. So fingers crossed that will take place. So guys, something else that's obviously a bit of a bugbear is the lack of stock just prior or just after launch. So if you're trying to sort of collect all the sets that are available just now, it's going to be a nightmare. If you weren't like on the ball, which I really wasn't, I didn't pick up this till after launch, and it's been a struggle to actually get all the collections available. Like all the stockists in the UK, for example, so Amazon, Argos, Game, they have some stock, but it's been picky in between. Go on Funstock, for example, one of the main stockists, and you won't get anything until August. So that is a bit of a pain. I mean, I've managed to get all of the sets bar maybe 3 at the moment, which hopefully we'll get some soon, but it really is a nightmare. Hopefully Evercade will sort of sort that out soon, but yeah, it's not good. Maybe something else worth noting, guys, is the next releases are quite far off as well. There was a few released, pre-released a couple of days ago for the Dizzy Collection and Xeno Crisis and the other game Tanglewood. So these games are being, I think the release date's going to be October the 2nd, so that seems quite a long way away. I mean, right now it's the start of July, which, that's another 3 months to go before we actually get there. I mean, if that's going to be the standard release dates for the next batch of games, that's probably not ideal. I think ideally you'd maybe want a few releases per month, maybe even more than that. And hopefully they'll improve that going forward once the stocking situation's sorted out. And there's definitely some good games on the horizon. Like there's the Atari Lynx Collection 1 and 2, which hopefully will be released by the end of the year as well. There's definitely some good scope there, even though that's a negative, but there's some good scope there for good games in the future. So guys, that's enough looking at the negative. Let's have a look at some of the positive things about the Evercade, because I really do like the Evercade, even though I've just come across a lot of negative aspects of it. So guys, even though I've looked at a lot of negative aspects, a lot of the positive things here, like the design of this console is very nice. It fits in the hand perfectly, it's very comfortable, even after extensive use from a few hours. It's really nice. All the buttons seem to fit nice, feel nice. I do love it. The design is very, very good. I think that's certainly something they've got spot on, apart from perhaps the screen issues that we've talked about. The design itself is really, really good. Now, also a positive is the amount of games that they've had on launch. I can't think of many consoles. I mean, admittedly, it's a back catalogue of mostly games you've seen, but 120 games at launch is particularly impressive, to say the least. Obviously, not all of them are particularly good, but 120 games is great. It's going to take a while for everyone to sort of get through them all and play them. So for sure, guys, there's a lot of really good games on this console, which is great. There's some of these I've never actually played before. Some have never really even been released before, so it's good to actually catch up with some of them, play some games that you've never seen or heard of, but some real good games in amongst this lot, for sure. And there's a lot of exciting ones to come, like for instance the Dizzy Collection that's coming out soon, and the Xeno Crisis and Tanglewood. They look really good games to add to this collection. So I'm really excited for that, and so far the support from Evercade has been good. Their sort of response times on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the rest, and their engagement with the fans has been excellent. So hopefully that will continue going forward, and we'll get some sort of regular release schedule going forward, so that would be really good. So yeah, another thing that's obviously really good yeah, these are all really collectible. You've got all these little cartridges, which is practically unheard of these days when your games are released on cartridge, apart from the Switch obviously. And you get the sort of really cool collectible boxes with the sort of manuals which you can actually read through, which is all really cool. I do like the collectible nature of it, and which is obviously going to appeal to a lot of people. Because another thing that I'm quite impressed with is the emulation is really good. Of the games that are on here, all of them are spot on with the sound, graphics, and they all look decent. You can obviously get a cable and put it onto your TV as well, but I'm not particularly sure that's the way you want to be playing this, but it's there if you need it. But they all look good. I've been really impressed with every game I've played, you know, emulation wise, so quite impressive. I've definitely enjoyed that aspect of it. So guys, in summary, I would say don't let all the negatives put you off this, because for me this is a cracking little handheld console, and it's got a lot of potential going forward if they support them with constant releases. I'm really excited for some of the games that are coming out, and I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully things will only get better. So guys, thanks for watching the video today. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and leave a comment below of your thoughts of the Evercade. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.